Join us today as we review Marvel's She-Hulk series in its entirety.
We.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and to all you new folks out there. Quick note up front, you know how this works. It's YouTube. If you like what you see, hit the like, subscribe, share it around, make some comments, all that fun stuff. But today, we're going to continue on the road of reviews that we started down with Thor, Love and Thunder and never quite followed up on.
Yeah.
Because we haven't watched anything else lately.
Well, yes, we as a group have not.
Okay, and as of this video, I'm the one that's actually watched what we're about to talk about.
Yes. I have not. I had no interest in really watching it.
Alright, so...
Mainly because I'm not a fan of the character.
And that would be Marvel's Disney Plus series, She-Hulk. So, I'm just going to throw this out right up front. If you're coming here for some hot take for me to just tell you this is the worst show ever or anything, just move on. I'm not going to say that.
Aw.
Okay.
You're disappointing the fans.
No, I'm giving them my actual opinion of the show and not just following the crowd. Alright?
Ooh, not follow the crowd.
Yeah. So, now, having said that, there's plenty to be critical about in this show. I'm just, I guess, a little more forgiving. I don't know. Maybe gullible. I don't know. Who knows? So, anyway.
I'm the gullible one here, Bobby. We both know it.
I will also be upfront. If this weren't a Marvel show, I probably would not have watched it. I probably wouldn't have given it the chance. Okay? So that was the end. Had I just seen the first episode and not been related to Marvel, I would have been highly reluctant to watch episode 2.
Even with it being Marvel, I had no desire to watch it.
Okay. So,
Go to be honest, just didn't.
So to get the bad out of the way, I'm sure if you've seen other reviews, you know that in the first episode, Jen goes on some incredibly cringe-worthy screed to Bruce at some point. Now, to my mind, the cringe-worthy part isn't what she says, okay? Because, you know, we all know that women do have to put up with a bunch of baloney that men don't have to put up with. However, the problem is she's basically using this as a, Bruce, I know how to control my anger because I deal with, you know, catcalling. And again, not to downplay that, but she's talking to Bruce Banner, her cousin, who presumably she knows the military has been trying to capture or kill for over a decade.
And who turns into a giant green monster when he gets angry.
Right. And there's just a little bit of a difference between guys on the street catcalling you, which again, shouldn't have to put up with, versus the dad of the love of your life firing missiles at you repeatedly on a near daily basis. Like, that's not even the same planet. Forget apples and oranges. And the problem is, this is her cousin. She knows that's what he's gone through. That's why it comes off as just some kind of smarmy, you know, and you don't want to listen to it because you're like, lady, do you know what's been going on with the Hulk? You know? So again, not to downplay her personal experiences, you know, because I'm sure she has had to deal with crap that she shouldn't have to. It's a matter of who she's talking to in this scenario.
So if she was talking to, like, Rhodey or Hawkeye, it would have come across better?
It would have come across better. I mean, they'd probably still be like, you know, I'm sure Hawkeye would be sitting there like, lady, I fought an army of robots, and I'm half deaf with a bow and arrow. Like,
also, what happened then?
Yeah. So anyway,
Although, like,
and yeah, like a lot of the cringe parts are in the first couple episodes. There's that one. There's where Bruce is trying to show her how to control, and like he throws a rock, and so she picks up a rock, throws it a few feet farther, and is all like, "Hey, yeah, look at that, Bruce, better than you." And Bruce is like, "All right, fine," takes one and throws it up into space. And she's like, It's like, well, you know, you're the one that started the one-upsmanship. Like, you know, don't start nothing, won't be nothing. That's the way it works. So it's little things like that. But anyway, that's those are the problems with the show. Plus, there's a number of characters that show up that are just completely mangled and wasted. Uh, like you'll never be able to take Titania seriously after this show. The Wrecking Crew, probably not even the Abomination after this. Wong survived unscathed. He's still cool.
Cool.
In fact,
that's important.
In fact, he should get a spin-off show with the other lady just watching the Sopranos episodes. If you watch the show, you know what I'm talking about.
Wait. Are we talking about
Wong? You know,
and the other lady?
It's a woman that he runs into in the show. Like you got to see the show to understand.
I thought you was talking about Darcy there for a moment.
No.
Although I'm still waiting for that show.
So anyway, to my mind, the biggest problem for most people is the fact the show is structured basically like a sitcom. So it seems like it's almost a series of unconnected events, even though they are. But it's set up like a sitcom, and people just, I'm guessing, weren't really ready for that, or don't want that. I personally think the humor, it was about 50-50. You know, the jokes that did hit, I thought they were funny. You know, there's a number of jokes that other people didn't find funny I thought were great. But, you know, that's just me.
That's the, how humor works.
Right. Like, you probably know that she's a fourth wall breaking character. Generally speaking, I'm not the biggest fan of those types of characters. Because, even though these are comic books, there have to be stakes. There has to be a certain level of this matters. And characters that know they're in a fictional setting that can break the fourth wall, literally in the case of this last episode of this show, like there's no dramatic tension. Nothing matters. Okay? That's good for comedy. That's why it works for Deadpool. You know, he's funny. And like I said, about 50-50 on Jen here. And anything that's wrong, I don't fault any of the actors or anything. They didn't write this stuff. That, you know, they're working with what they've got, and most of them do a good job. But yeah, that seems to be the issue. Is it can't, and even there, it can't decide sitcom or legal drama, but it's mainly a comedy, and the legal parts are probably horribly wrong. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm just gonna guess on this. Oh, also, you randomly find out the Sokovia Accords got repealed. That's just kind of thrown out there at some point.
That should be like in a movie.
You would think so. So,
or a blurb in Loki season 2.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think so.
Because that I'll watch, people.
So yeah, but you run into things like that, and again, I don't know who should be faulted for this other than the writers, but the bulk of the plot of the show revolves around Jen's love life. Which is fine if you're invested in the character. The problem is her character is the fact that she has a bad love life. Like, that's mostly it. Like, now it's entirely possible I missed some things. You know, that I might have not paid attention or dozed off or something.
That happens a lot.
Yeah, I got sleep apnea. It could have happened. But okay, I was thinking about this the other day as I was trying to prepare for this. Just going by, just as a comparison to Bucky and Falcon and the Winter Soldier. From a single line of dialogue, I know that Bucky read The Hobbit when it came out, which means he probably read The Lord of the Rings at some later point once he was thawed out and now not
found out there's a
crazy
sequel
anymore.
books.
Which means I can gather from that he's probably a fan of fantasy novels. Okay? And we know that he is trying to make amends for what he has done. We know that he thoroughly blames himself, even though he was mind-controlled. We know all these little tidbits about him. We know all kinds of things about Falcon and his family and their deal with the bank. And we even know a lot of stuff about Isaiah. You know, the other guy, the black gentleman who was experimented upon with the super soldier serum. Like, we know details about all these people's lives.
I really need to watch that series.
You do, it's good.
If Isaiah Adams is in it.
And, but with Jen, the main thing we know is she's a lawyer, she's Bruce's cousin, she's got superpowers, and her love life sucks. That's it. Like, you had 9 episodes, and never once do her and her friend, like, hey, let's sit down and watch some movies and, like, name a genre, hopefully other than romance, to kind of, like, round things out. Or, like, someone walks into her office. Oh, you've read, whatever, pick a book title on the shelf that, again, is hopefully not romance. Like, there's all kinds of little moments that you can put into these shows that you could have to just, to add little character details. And they didn't. So, you know, and it's not like the other Marvel shows are filled with character details to the brim or anything. That was just an example of how they could have done it to make her character more engaged, so you care about her love life. Because as is, you only care about her love life because the show is about her love life. Like, I don't know what you do with that. Now, again, like I said, it's not a thoroughly terrible show. It's not the worst of the Marvel shows. I don't know what I would say is the worst. Just before you ask, uh, it is watchable. I don't think it's anywhere near as bad as most of the other people on YouTube are trashing it for. It's not great though. Like, it's firmly like a little bit below the middle. Falcon and the Winter Soldier was definitely the better show.
Definitely the better
Loki
show.
was infinitely better. Uh, that's a multiverse joke.
Ha 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 ha.
There you go, Chad. You got it. Yeah, sorry, folks. I don't have a laugh track. I just have Chad. So yeah.
We'll start filming in front of a live studio audience, and we'll have a laugh or cry card for them.
Well, it's a big box. It says applause that blinks. Is what it is. At least that's how it looks in older shows.
No, we're going with the old school of the cue card for the audience.
So anyway, like I said, the show is watchable. It does do things that the other shows don't do.
Shows everyday life for superhero characters.
Well, it does, but I mean, in a lot of ways, Hawkeye did that too. Like Hawkeye showed a lot of at least Kate Bishop's life, plus Clint getting stuck in the middle of all of it that's going down. But yeah.
I would totally take that as a show,
by the way, spoiler alert, Daredevil cameo. It's pretty good. And there's even I wish I could remember the scene, but I'm not going to rewatch the show to think about it. There's some scene where he's kind of like, something like oh yeah, I know a little bit about that, kind of like alluding to the fact that he's Daredevil, and then the theme to the Netflix series turns on in the background, and I was like, that's a nice touch. But no, speaking of little things like that, I don't care what anyone says about the finale, and it's got parts that I understand why people hate it. I thought parts of it were clever. I thought the opening was spectacular. The opening is literally like the opening to the old Bill Bixby show, but with her in Bill Bixby's place, essentially. Like, she's even like in the machine at the beginning. Even though that has nothing to do with how she got her powers.
Wow.
Like, it covers how she got her powers, and it shows her like all roided out, flipping over the VW bug, and like on the run from everybody. Yeah, no, that was that made the whole thing worth it right there. Like, I don't care about the rest of the series. That made it all worth it right there. So
I might have to watch this now.
Yeah. So if you like the other Marvel shows, there is one giant thing at the end. Since I'm going for spoilers here, Hulk's son Scar shows up in the finale. Because like the finale's like, okay,
Scar.
Yeah. So the way the finale's set up is there's a group called the Intelligentsia who's trying to destroy her love life, basically. And because she spurned this one rich guy who's a jerk. And there's a lot of meta commentary because they're making the same kind of comments a lot of people online have made about shows like this. And that's probably why a lot of people really hate it, because I'm sure it hit a little close to home. Although some of it's kind of disingenuous, but, whatever. So, she sends in one of her friends. Well, she doesn't. Her assistant does. And this is all happening like in Emil Blonsky's like lodge, and he shows up as the Abomination, It's then she shows up and is like, Emil, what are you doing? He's like, oh, hey, Jen, this isn't what it looks like, because she helped get him out of prison towards the beginning of the series. And so then, like,
is it played by the same guy?
yeah, it's Tim Roth.
Yes.
And so then, like, the one guy who's put everything behind is like, yeah, we even got a sample of your blood, and they're able to synthesize it so I could get your powers too, and like shoots up, and so he's like all hulking out, and then Bruce busts through the ceiling, and he's like, yeah, sorry, I've been on Sakaar this whole time because he's been missing since like episode 1, and so then, like, it's like obviously angling for this giant like slobber knocker that's gonna get down, and like Titania shows up, and Jen's finally like, hold on, none of this makes any damn sense. And then it cuts like to the Disney Plus screen, and you see like she like punches out one of the little things and climbs out of it, and she's like, "Oh yeah, behind the scenes for Marvel, that's where I'll find him," and goes to like talk to the writers, and she's like, "What are you guys doing? Like this makes no sense. Like it's what Kevin wanted." She's like, "Okay, well I'm gonna go talk to Kevin." Turns out Kevin Feige is just an AI. And so it's a lot of meta commentary about how all the movies end up with people basically just fighting a doppelganger of themselves, and like he's like, but the metrics say it has to end in a big fight. There has to be a cliffhanger. We have to do this and this. And she's like, but maybe you don't. And he's like, hang on, Jen. And she's like recalculating. He's like, all right. I hope you appreciate this. We'll never meet again. Kind of like the architect in the Matrix. She's like, wait, what? And she, Oh, there's another kind of funny joke there too, because she shows up as SheHulk, and he's like, I need you to turn back into Jen, and he's like, but wait till I cut away because the effects crew's already on another movie now, so we can't like actually show you morph back into Jen, and so it cuts. There's a lot of the jokes that I thought were funny that I think other people just don't find them funny. But anyway, so then she goes back, everything kind of settles itself out. And then they're at the cookout later on, and Daredevil, Matt's there as Daredevil because they hooked up like 2 episodes before that. And then Bruce shows up. It's like, yeah, sorry, everybody been gone. Turns out I've got a son, and Scar comes out from behind him, and everyone's like, what? Like that's where the show ends. So they still had to. So they still had to go with the time to set up the next thing.
So you're telling me there's a possibility we're gonna get actual Planet Hulk storyline.
There's rumors they've been setting it up for a while, so yeah, it's looking that way. So anyway, folks, that's my impression of it. It's just slightly below middle of the pack. It's got its moments. As long as you know what it is and that sounds good to you, watch it. If what I just talked about for the last 20 minutes or so, or however long I've been going, sounds terrible, don't watch it.
Well,
that's the best advice I can give you.
I'd like to point this out, Bobby.
I didn't set the timer before we get going.
I know, but I actually kind of want to watch it now.
Well, there you go.
Like, I'm going to be honest.
So, yeah, there you go. So, anyway, so thank you for watching. If you like what you saw, hit the like, subscribe, share it around, make some comments. If you think I'm a complete fool for actually liking this show, go ahead and spell it out in there in the comments.
Yep.
We're open to that kind of thing.
Tell us what you thought.
Or if you did like it, if other elements you liked, didn't like, whatever, But that's what we want to see because we want to interact, and that's our method to do that. So please do that. Otherwise, we will see you folks later.